Hello, I'm Erin Keith, a sustainability professional here in Austin, Texas. And today we're talking with Stacy Savage, founder of Zero Waste Strategies and creator of Consulting for Women in Waste: Gain Freedom, Build Wealth, and Grow Your Brand. And this is a 12-week program. It's designed for women in sustainability who want to turn their expertise into a business, whether they're leaving corporate or you're just starting out after graduation. So thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for the interview.
Yeah, to start us off, can you tell us a little bit about your background and what led you to create this program?
Yeah, so I'm Stacy Savage, aka the Texas Trash Talker. I grew up in Southeast Texas under the brown hazy skies and rotten egg smells of the oil and gas industry. And my mom and dad both, for a collective 80 years, worked at oil refineries. Our family and many families in that area are unfortunately complicit in the pollution of that region. Of course, you don't blame the employees. There's a lot of blame to go around when it comes to the government and not enforcing policies, as well as the corporations who want lenient policies. So there's a lot to be said about the resilience of people in that area, but you know when you're coming into town because you can just smell it. And so I didn't know I was growing up in a polluted area, but once I moved to the Austin area, that green open spaces, clean water, clean air, very, very important for actual human survival. And so I went to work for an environmental nonprofit. We did door-to-door grassroots community organizing. I was helping pass the 2007 computer takeback law, where we worked with Dell and we got all 181 lawmakers to vote yes on producer take back. That means the companies that manufactured the equipment take it back and recycle it responsibly and for free for Texas residents. And we repeated that victory in 2011 with the Texas television take back law. So that gave me a lot of empowerment around how government works, a lot of education as well. And we went on to help pass 4 local recycling ordinances here in Austin as well. So that kind of led me from activism to eventually starting my own business. And I was in my car one day just driving home. I was at a red light, about to turn into my neighborhood. Something just hit me out of the blue and something said, "Stacy, you need to start a business." And it stiffened my spine. So I sat straight up and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to start a business. You know, the haulers in the area for trash recycling and compost pickup, the lawmakers, the city council members and their aides. You're friends with all the heavy hitters in the environmental movement across the state and the nonprofit world. Like, why aren't you the hub of resources? So that's exactly what I did. The very next day, I sprung out of bed, I ran down to the Travis County Courthouse, I dropped my $17 and I got my DBA. And the rest is history. So 13 years later, here in 2026, we are working with companies like Dell, AT&T, Apple, AbbVie, Nestle Purina, Boston University. City of Austin is actually one of our clients as well. So we work with businesses large and small to help them reduce waste, increase revenue, deepen customer loyalty, drive employee engagement and empowerment, as well as a green marketing edge to tell the story. We can also certify facilities for zero waste.
That's amazing. So many women in sustainability feel just as passionate about this kind of work, but they don't see a path from employee to business owner. And so some are tired of the 9-to-5 grind, and others, they just want to build a career with more freedom, more purpose, more autonomy. So what inspired you to create Consulting for Women in Waste?
Well, I have 13 years of business ownership under my belt already. And I thought there are plenty of women, like you said, who are out there feeling the drain from the corporate 9-to-5, the schedule, not having that autonomy. And I just thought to myself, it would be great if I had a course 13 years ago. I could have followed somebody else's footsteps and I wouldn't have made the very costly mistakes and I would not have had to experience the pitfalls. So that's kind of what inspired me, is let me put something together for women to have a more direct path into consulting so they can get from A to Z a lot quicker than I did. It was imperative that I create something that is high quality, high caliber for women who are already in the sustainability profession and they want to make that shift. They want to take the leap and invest in themselves, take the leap of faith for themselves, and to free up that time and make their own schedule, be their own boss.
And yeah, you went through a lot of mistakes, a lot of practical steps you have along the way of building a business. How does your own experience shape the way that you teach this material in this course?
Yeah, when I first started, this is an extremely male-dominated industry, and I did not have a lot of support from women in the industry. It's very archaic, the waste industry itself, and I think women are a lot more collaborative rather than competitive. And I was being brought in on several projects, and then the projects that I was getting contracted for, I would bring other women in who had been doing this work for way longer than I had. So not only was I leading these projects on paper, I was getting a very deep learning on the back end from women who were showing me the way. And so I wanted to return that favor for women who are feeling stuck and they know that they want to make more impact. They want more freedom. They've got that purpose and that drive. We meet on live phone calls every other week. We just have it out. We talk about, the things that we're experiencing in our industries. We're experiencing it with family life. We talk about everything under the sun. So it's, everybody's experience is going to be very different as they go through the 12-week course. The end goal is to get them to that point where they can fly on their own. They start getting their own very first clients under their belt. They start building that confidence so that they can see themselves more in an empowered consultant role rather than a subordinate in a corporate structure.
Who is the course for? Who's your ideal student?
My ideal student is women who have been in sustainability for a while. Even if you've got a year under your belt, that's totally fine. But also recent graduates who have graduated in a green field, zero waste, circular economy, recycling, food waste reduction, composting, any of those key main areas that we cover in the course, how to build your business around those consulting topics. So it's mainly women who want to drive the circular economy and that have either a graduate degree, some kind of degree, or someone who's already in the workforce who is looking to make a shift, more impact, earn more income, and want to gain a deeper purpose. Really looking for women who are tired of building somebody else's dream and they want to build their own.
Yeah, a lot of people also want more freedom. A lot of women want more meaningful work, but they feel stuck because they don't know where to start. Or maybe they've done research and they're scared that they might be missing a step in this process. So what kind of transformation do you hope students can experience over these 12 weeks?
Well, the transformation is you go from being that subordinate mindset and getting your direct orders from your supervisor to leading the charge. And that transition takes a huge mind shift. So we do a bunch of work on emotional and psychological shifts within the course so that we can come out on the back end with that perspective and seeing ourselves, how we need to present ourselves to other people who are potential clients, because you're exuding that confidence that you know what you're talking about. There's a lot of women, and especially in a society that tells women to sit down and shut up and just make yourself small. And that is not what I'm about. And it has taken me a long time to go from a salaried employee to the mind shift of being a consultant that sets her own fees and charges what she's worth. So I didn't really have any hand-holding in the process of making that mental shift. And it was very difficult because I was short selling myself a lot. I was kind of giving away all my expertise for when somebody wanted to pick my brain, or a company would contact me for, just take a look at this product and tell me what you I didn't get compensated for that. So previously I worked in the nonprofit field. And so the nonprofit work that I was doing was not very lucrative. It was more passion-based, and I'm still very passionate about what I do, but it's on a different level because I am setting the goals. I'm setting the standards for my own business. I'm setting the financial goals. I'm setting the client acquisition goals. That transformation is really the key driver of this entire program. Is how do we address the core insecurities? Because you've already got the expertise. You don't have the business structure yet. And this is what we work on is how to get the business structure into place. But you have to do that by aligning with your core values, identifying what those are, and making sure that your business is built on integrity that can reflect your core values and who you're working with.
I love that. And so it's not just a real plan and how to get to the next step operationally, but a huge mindset shift as well.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah. And I like what you said about women who you mentioned giving away this expertise for free, because I think a lot of women and mission-based professionals too are just very eager to make the world a better place. And so having that shift of, this is actually expertise and I'm driving other businesses' revenue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now whenever I get tapped for consultation, I'm like, yeah, sure. Let me invoice you my hourly rate. And then we know who's really serious or not. So do they really value my input? Do they just want something for free? I make sure that they know that I do have an hourly fee. And if you are going to ask me for my input on your product that can 10x your sales, then you're going to have to pay me for it.
As they should.
As they should.
Women who are considering business ownership often want more than inspiration. They want support, structure, a real plan. So what are the top benefits of your course for someone ready to build a zero-waste consulting firm?
You walk away with a business plan. You can go from A to Z. You may get your first client while you're still in the program. And you're also working with other women who are in the program with you. They're working the entire system just like you are. And when we meet biweekly, we will go through the hiccups and the trials and the challenges, the obstacles, but we'll also celebrate the wins and the victories, the camaraderie, building that confidence in your business knowledge. Having that structure in place is so critical. When I first started, I did not have a business plan. I did not have a structure. I just went for it. So the top benefit is getting from point A to point Z without those pitfalls, and you're going to get there at lightning speed.
Yeah, it's for all those people who have sat through a meeting or recent graduates and have thought, I can do this myself. And this course is designed for that moment, that thought. So why is this especially important right now? A lot of women are rethinking their careers. Some are burned out by traditional work. Others are entering the job market, wanting more autonomy from the start. So why do you think it's such an important time for women in sustainability to explore consulting?
Well, here's the thing. There are thousands and thousands of businesses across the country who have made public commitments to their shareholders, their investors, their customers, their employees, that they are going to go the green route. And once you have a public commitment, you can't backslide on that because you will get called out. You will be exposed via social media. You will have your investors saying, oh, well, we don't want to go that route. That's not what we bought in for. And those companies are seeking knowledgeable professionals who can guide them through the process of maybe going after their LEED certification or their true zero waste facility certification. Women are so collaborative rather than cutthroat and competitive. We build the types of teams that are necessary in order to cater to that particular client's needs for their business. So we can customize things. And I think that there are more women, especially after COVID, that are making this shift of, I can do all this from home. I already know what I'm talking about. I can build the client base that I want to work with. I've got connections already in the industry. I can tap those. So it's important because what are we leaving behind for our kids and our grandkids? I think that that is top of mind for many women who are already in the sustainability field, who have that sense of purpose, that urgency, that leaving a livable planet with breathable air and drinkable water is absolutely mission number one for them. Why not have an active role and get paid handsomely for it while you're at it? Put your expertise to use. And you're not just helping a company from the inside out, you're helping many businesses through your expertise and your consulting. So your impact grows every single year, the more that your client base grows, the more that your confidence grows, and your outreach grow as well.
When someone finishes your 12-week program, what do they actually have in hand? And for a woman who wants to leave a job or a fresh start after graduation, what outcomes matter most?
Yeah, so I think what they have in hand is they'll get a certificate, a Zero Waste Business Professional certificate. They can put out on social media, they can put on their website. It's part of their credentials. And you'll walk away with that business plan that shows you know what you're talking about, that you've got all of the correct steps in place. How do you set up your business? How do you deal with the tax and legal structure? How do you start with marketing yourself rather than a company? How do you position yourself as the go-to person in your local area or your region, maybe your state? The outcomes that matter most, I think, is the confidence building. The autonomy is huge for women, building integrity that you have as your core value into your business structure and the way that you communicate with people. So you've got a platform to put out not only your services, but to do it in a way that aligns with your value, your integrity, and your worth as a human being, and to charge what you should be charging for your expertise. For all those years that you put in, building your knowledge muscle around these topics is critical to build what we call generational wealth. What can you pass along to your kids as well? So those are some outcomes to think about for women as they are thinking about taking that next step and having that career shift, or if they're a recent graduate, taking that very first step into the work world by starting their own program to help other companies reduce waste.
Yeah, it can feel like a big step. So what encouragement would you offer?
Look inward, meditate on it for a good 20, 30 minutes, and start to envision yourself working outside of the office, outside of the corporate structure. You're in your business suit, you've got your laptop in hand, and you are there shaking hands with the executive vice presidents of a company that is worldwide and worth billions of dollars. So just envisioning something like that can feel scary because it's a big step, and it's really important to do the deep breathing, the emotional work, and the meditation to envision what your life could look like outside of the corporate structure, outside of the corporate 9 to 5, the demands, getting text messages at 2 a.m. from your boss, having that work-life balance for your mental health, your emotional health, and just to be able to lead like women are supposed to lead. Women have incredible leadership skills that are usually put on the back burner by the corporate structure. So we want to make sure to put that in front. We want to make sure that you are front and center, that you are being called upon because that expertise is needed. It's okay to feel scared. I was terrified whenever I first started. And so the great thing is that you have such a tight-knit support network in the course. I'm available outside of the calls as well. If you need to text me or email me or just let me know, I'll give you a call. So I've been there before. I know exactly where you're at. So the main thing is just getting started and just telling yourself, yes, this is the next natural step for me. It feels in alignment with what I want to do. It feels in alignment with the stronger impact that I want to have. And it feels in alignment with the kind of bank account I want to be looking at. And you're going to be making potentially an annual salary within 1 or 2 contracts. So a lot to be said about setting those prices that you're worth because you've put the time and effort in, your expertise and your experience that you can bring to other clients.
Yeah, and I think for people who want to go independent, you have to remember that you don't have to do everything by yourself too, right?
We got to space it out a little bit because it just gets too overwhelming, especially if you've got kids and you're still working on your 9-to-5 job and you're in that transition phase. We understand that. Believe me, I definitely get that.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing your perspective and also creating a program that supports women and sustainability in such a practical and empowering way. So for anyone who wants to learn more about consulting for women in waste, where should they go next?
So they can go to our website. It's zerowaste.org, and it's the digit 0, waste.org. You can also email us, info@zerowaste.org, and we can get you some information. We're on all the major socials, just at Zero Waste Strategies. If you want to enroll right away, you can do that through our website. But if you feel like you want to have a 30-minute discussion about how this can look for you, and you'll get me on the phone, we'll be on a Zoom call like this, or just a phone call if you feel more comfortable that way. If you want to talk about it first, we can do a free strategy session, like a 30-minute strategy session to make sure that this is right for you and that the investment that you do make into yourself will have plenty of payoffs whenever you get out of the program.
Is there anything else you'd like to leave our listeners with today?
Yeah, I think women are strong leaders. This is our time. This is our time to act. This is our time to protect. This is our time to leave a legacy for our kids, grandkids. And this is the time for women to shine. And I want to be a part of putting women on that pedestal so that they can take that leap, spread their wings, and fly.
Oh, I love that. That's wonderful. Thanks, Stacy.
Absolutely. Thanks, Erin. I appreciate your time.